For 17 days, 6 men had crossed the Southern Ocean in a lifeboat. Now 3 of them stood on the wrong side of South Georgia. Somewhere beyond the mountains were people. Food, shelter, a radio, everything they needed to save the men still waiting on Elephant Island. But first, they had to reach it. This is Against the Odds, true stories of survival, courage, and impossible odds. Ernest Shackleton chose Frank Worsley and Tom Crean to go with him. The other 3 men from the James Caird were too exhausted to make the crossing. There was no established route through the interior, no detailed map they could simply follow. The landscape ahead was mountains, glaciers, snow, and steep valleys. They carried only what they believed they needed. Then they started walking. The climb began almost immediately. At times, they had to change direction when the terrain ahead became impossible. They climbed ridges hoping to see a route down the other side. Sometimes they found only another obstacle. They had already spent weeks cold and wet. Now sleep became another problem. Stopping for too long risked becoming dangerously cold. So they kept moving, hour after hour. At one point, they reached high ground and needed to descend quickly. Retracing their route would take too much time. Instead, the 3 men slid down a steep snow slope together. It was a decision made with limited information. They could not see the entire descent, but it brought them lower. Then they continued. The men had been moving for more than a day when something changed. They heard a sound, a whistle. It came from a whaling station. For the first time, they had direct evidence that other people were close. They adjusted their route toward it. On May 20th, 1916, Shackleton, Worsley, and Crean reached Stromness. They had crossed the island in roughly 36 hours with almost no real sleep. Their appearance shocked the people who saw them. Their clothing was worn. Their faces reflected months of exposure. They had left civilization more than a year earlier. Now they were standing inside it again. Food was available. Shelter was available. Ships were available. But Shackleton's expedition was not together. 3 men remained on the southern side of South Georgia, and 22 were still on Elephant Island. Those 22 had no way to know that the James Caird had succeeded. For them, every day looked almost the same. Wind, cold, waiting. Shackleton began organizing their rescue almost immediately, but the Antarctic ice had not finished with them. One attempt failed, then another, and another. For more than 3 months, the men on Elephant Island waited without knowing whether anyone was coming. Reaching Stromness had saved Shackleton, Worsley, and Crean. But that was never the only reason they had crossed South Georgia. 22 men were waiting, and Shackleton still intended to go back for every one of them.